the wall to the side of this panel tub, it was 33 inches. We came up here, we added an inch to the right. That allows an inch of overhang this way on the right side of the panel tub and an inch overhang this way as we cut this piece of strut 2 inches larger than the width of this panel. Hopefully that makes sense. And what I did to split the difference in this, that way it looks a little more professional, I measured from the top of the panel to the ceiling. It was 34 inches. I made 37-inch mark right here. That is where the middle of this strut's going to go. I use this as a crosshair line solely for demonstration purposes. Don't be doing this out in the field. This would be fine because it would be covered up by the strut. This you don't want there. Hopefully it makes sense. So what I'm going to do at this point, I should be using a pencil, but I only have a pen with me at the moment. So work with me. I'm going to see. I'm using this middle line right here to line up in the center of the strut. Right over to my line, level it up. And remember, in the first video, this is the line for the studs. So I'm going to do, just so I know I'm avoiding it entirely, I'm going to draw it right there, and we're still level. Come over here, do the same thing. At this point, I'll take my mighty Hitachi. I bought this working on union. I'm going to drill these two out for my toggle bolts to lock that into place. Usually I use a hole saw, but once again, working in my garage using what I have. It's an old beat up unit, so this will have to work. So normally I would start with the pilot bit, but I know there's not a. I've already traced out the stuff. So I'm going to do just like that. It's a little big. That's one of the reasons I don't like it, but it'll work. One hole. Come over here. Same thing. And 2 holes. At this point, we are going to take toggle bolts, which I have right here. We're going to install them into the 2 holes, mount it, tighten it, and then we'll go on. Toggle bolt is just what this looks like. It has a little wing, obviously a bolt. When you're using these toggle bolts, you want a lock washer, a fender washer, slide that on. You're going to slide that straight into a hole of your choice, which that's the hole that we use to drill out our hole in the wall. Slide that in just like that. I'm going to take these off so I can work a little better, so I can keep my hands clean, but not going to work. So, same thing, take it apart. Lock washer up top, fender washer, slide that in. Get that going. And just like I said yesterday, when you start this, you can try and push it in. Sometimes that'll work. Other times I'll grab these wings, but this hole should be big enough to where I can push it in like that. Push it in like that. Now it's dangling. And what I do when I start, I'm going to work one way to the other. So I'm not going to fully lock this into place now. I'm going to be pulling. So with my left hand, I'm pulling out on the strut to add tension on those wings on the back of the drywall. It helps if you have the right bit, which this is a square bit, which I don't have because I'm at home. But we'll try to make it work. Other side, get that slightly locked into place. Once again, I'm working out of my garage. I work with my big tool bag that has all the extra things I need. So bear with me on some of this. Maybe I'll start bringing my tool bag home with me. But get that lined up in the center. Lock that into place like so, and then level this out right about there, bada bing, bada boom, and then we can lock that in just like that. And yeah, there you go. That's the first piece, and we will be adding a second piece on top. So hopefully this makes a little more sense why I made the strut up there a little wider than the panel tub. So right now, I know it's kind of hard to see from the video, but we have about an inch of overhang both ways. That's going to allow us to build out a separate strut rack if needed in the future. Obviously, that's not going to happen here. Well, I will be doing it, but it's not going to necessarily be needed in a commercial setting where you say you have to add more pipes or say you need a crap ton of pipes on top of that. That will allow you to do that. Next thing we're going to do, because I have limited strut, I mounted this on senior strut. Should have done junior strut, but I have a limited supply of that. I had a little more senior strut, which is why I mounted the tub itself on the senior strut. Normally what you could do double strut, or not double strut, junior strut back here, mount one single piece of senior strut above it, and you come straight out. But what I'm going to do, I have some junior strut. We're going to add a piece of junior strut to the front of this, which is going to allow our pipes to come perfectly straight out. Coming out of a panel tub, you do not want to have offsets, weird kicks if possible. Straight pipe and 90s should be your goal coming out of a panel tub anyways. So let's go to it. This junior strut is going to mount onto the front of that senior strut. That's going to allow our pipes to come perfectly straight out, because if we do not add that, we'd have to do weird offsets back, and we're not going to do that. We want a professional look to all of our work. In my opinion, coming out of a panel tub, offsets are never needed, and there's definitely workarounds a majority of the time. Not always. But we're going to take a bolt, lock washer, fender washer. Backside is going to be a channel nut, spring nut, whatever you want to call it. Just like so. Take that off, slide that in. Bam. Just like so. And what we're going to do, want to come up here, it's pretty straightforward. Turn the channel nuts or spring nuts, I call them spring nuts, sideways, and then you just want to flip them over. Slide it in sideways, and then a little torquing, little finger movements, there you go. And get that dangling, pop this off, get out the mighty Hitachi. Hate on me for it, don't care. And we're just going to lock that straight into place. Come over here. Same thing. Normally I'd use a handheld driver, but all my tools, like I said, are at work, not here at my garage with me. It is what it is. But there you go. So that allows straight piece of conduit to come straight up and out. Once again, if I had more strut or junior strut, I would have mounted this panel top on that, but we didn't. So this is a workaround. Build that out, and then this allows straight pipe to come up it. And at this point, that's kind of what you're looking at. We got our panel tub mounted, as I keep saying, one senior strut, both sides, or top and bottom. Up top, we have our senior strut, which is an inch longer both ways than the panel tub. That will allow us to build out a rack in the future. What I will probably end up doing after this video, when we build out that rack, it's going to be built out on these two outside holes, so I'll probably take these bolts, move them to the next hole over. That way when we build it out, there's no issues, and we're not unstrapping anything. That's just something I just caught. But overall, the next part of the series will be actually laying out the holes, or laying out the panel tub, drilling out the holes, and finally starting to get the conduit going. If you have any questions, concerns, if you find this helpful, you hate it, let me know in the comments. And as always, have a great day. Peace.